What's going on YouTube? Hannah back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we'll be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you like the content and want to see more. Otherwise, jumping into today's episode, happy holidays to everyone, anyone that celebrates Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. Otherwise, I do have some pretty important stuff to discuss in today's episode. Besides discussing the technical analysis, looking at cryptocurrencies slight pullback, we are going to be discussing a topic which is actually pretty insane. It's actually really cool. Basically, it's President Trump, and as you guys saw in my title, President Trump setting up a huge Bitcoin rally. Plus, we're going to discuss, Ripple, XRP, NXRP, Tron, Ethereum, Litecoin, Nano, and some more cryptocurrency news. But otherwise, let's furthermore jump into today's episode. So we're currently on the coin market cap, and as you guys can see, we have a coin market cap of 129 billion, 24-hour volume of 20.4, and a Bitcoin dominance of 51.6. This is very interesting. I forget exactly where we were at in terms of market cap yesterday. I don't believe we were in the 130. Actually, I think we were. I think we were near like 134 bill, but we're seeing a slight decline. A slight pullback from yesterday. If not, this is around the same compared to when I made my video. We probably saw us peak and then pull back down right after my video. So we're seeing negative numbers. But for the most part, the prices, actually we are pulling back down quite a bit now that I'm looking at them. So we're seeing market cap decline. We're seeing the volume stay high because even though money is leaving the exchanges, it is still impacting the volume that is on the bigger exchanges, So just because we're seeing a decrease in price and a decrease in the market doesn't mean volume is decreasing as well. Usually with a slight increase or a slight decrease, we see that affected by a high amount of volume. Otherwise, Bitcoin dominance is 51.6. I believe we saw that break 50% yesterday at like 49%. So we are seeing an increase in the volume. We're seeing an increase in the dominance of Bitcoin, which the dominance means overall the entire market. Bitcoin is owned 51.6%. So you can see Bitcoin's market cap is 66 bill, and then everything else under it is much, much, much smaller. So you can see more than half the market is owned by Bitcoin. But otherwise, we're seeing that poorly reflected in the prices and all over the graphs. You can see the top 10 cryptos are all down, and they're down quite a bit. Everything's down at least 6 to 10% today for the most part. Bitcoin down 6%, like we just said, at 3,800, broke below that 4,000. And with good reason, XRP at 38, below that 40 cents that we saw. We see Litecoin at 31.30, down 7.7%. Again, now below, which is wild actually, below Tether. We saw Litecoin above 200, above 2 bill, and within less than 24 hours, it dropped its market cap $150 million below. So much so that it's now below Tether. Tether isn't really seeing any movement in its price at all, not even practically not down or up by anything, having a very stable day, which is odd. But the rest of the coins are getting impacted pretty hard. Bitcoin SV is taking a pretty major hit, almost about down by 10%. EOS down by 10%. Let's look at the change in 24 hours. You can see there's actually some coins that are up. We see Bugiera coin, never heard of that. Chainlink we've talked about, Gemini Dollar we've talked about, Populous we've discussed, but they're really not moving by much, 1 to 2% mainly. Now let's see the big double-digit, drop, huge drops across the board. This is a down day for cryptocurrency. DEX is down 23%, 20, 17, 15. So for the most part, we are seeing a negative day. Moving on, though, to what I wanted to discuss with you guys. Hopefully, you guys know President Trump. That's why I wanted to discuss this. This is a pretty big, article discussing what his presidency could have to do with cryptocurrency. So it says, from President Trump's potential impact on Bitcoin to a new explainer on Ripple and XRP and a big donation from Tron, here's a look at some of the stories breaking in the world of crypto. So this is an article by the Daily Hodl, and I do use them a lot because I do think their news is very recent and it's very current, so I do like to use them. So this says the CEO of Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management says President Trump could be setting up the next huge Bitcoin rally, and see how that is in quotations. Ross Gerber didn't point out whether it's the president's recent attack on the Federal Reserve, the ongoing government shutdown, or another matter entirely. In any case, Gerber says he has no plans to sell on his crypto. And then we have a tweet that by Ross Gerber says Trump might be setting up a huge Bitcoin rally. This is what it was made for, just saying crypto is not dead in bold exclamation, not dead. Haven't sold mine and not going to. So that is huge, with President Trump potentially making some moves, within it. We then see, at Ripple and XRP, Binance Academy, the new education platform from the leading crypto exchange, has released a new video on Ripple and XRP. So you guys can check this out. Can't play it because I'm going to get demonetized for this video, but you can check it out. It's on the Daily Hodl. And then moving down, we want to talk about Litecoin really quick. So it was added to an exchange, Litecoin. So basically, the Bitcoin Lightning wallet, Zap, just added support for Litecoin. Zap now supports connecting to remote Litecoin Lightning nodes, although the Lightning Network was conceptualized with scaling Bitcoin in mind while adding some privacy enhancements. It is protocol design agnostics to the underlying blockchain. The Litecoin dev team is currently working on the implementing Neutrino Light Client support with LTCD, so that LTCD, I guess Litecoin, whatever, so that one day users can launch their wallet on the Bitcoin blockchain, log out, and then switch change to Litecoin. So you can see they have this app here, which is pretty cool. Might have to check it out. It's called Zap. So if you guys have already used Zap, let me know how it is. But it looks like a very, very, very interesting app. So moving on from that, we have another article that I wanted to discuss, more in depth about President Trump. So this is on Bitcoinist.com. Could President Trump be setting up the next big Bitcoin rally? Does he have any influence, or is he trying to, draw the market up much higher? So basically, this says, so asked fund manager, like we talked about, Ross Gerber on Twitter, about President Trump. It says, perhaps the scene was set by the announcement of the Bitcoin proponent Mick Mulvaney as his acting chief of staff, who will at the same time continue his role on Trump's budget director. Then, of course, there is Trump's ongoing war of words with the Federal Reserve. Last week's quarter point rise in interest rates added fuel to the fire and spooked the markets. Trump caused further alarm with the suggestion that he wanted to fire the Fed chairman until he realized he couldn't. Still, Trump has been a vocal critic of Fed policy as of the late, and the Federal Reserve as a whole, calling it the only problem with the economy. So we even have a tweet by him. It says, the only problem with our economy is the Fed. So they don't have a feel for the market. They don't understand necessary trade wars or strong dollar or even democratic shutdowns over borders. The Fed is like a powerful golfer who can't score because he has no touch. He can't putt. It then says Trump believes the Fed is out of touch with the market, as the current tapering of QE could bring about another recession, if not worse. What's more, Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin even went as far as calling the CEOs of the nation's 6 largest banks to check out that they had sufficient liquidity, though he may have inadvertently caused just the sort of panic he was trying to avoid. Relative to the world's biggest crypto, the Fed's monetary easing is seen as a positive for hard money like Bitcoin, as inflating the money supply should, at least in theory, boost BTC's price. So we're seeing whether or not by Trump discussing with the Federal Reserve and talking negatively, is it shifting money to be moved into Bitcoin? Does it have a correlation between that? That's what we want to hear. We do know that Trump does bash a lot of these things, Democratic Party, and never really discussed crypto, but the Federal Reserve and how they run their things. He thinks they're out of touch, and could him bashing that drive people to find an area to manage their own money, similar to Bitcoin, crypto, Litecoin, all those different networks. And then it goes on to says Bitcoin adoption has always been driven by bank failures, bailouts, bail-ins, and political unrest, like we just said. Therefore, it's no surprise that some investors and money managers are seeing a tug-of-war between the Fed and Trump as a net positive for Bitcoin. Trump might be setting up a huge rally a huge Bitcoin rally, and Litecoin too. This is what it was made just saying, tweeted fund manager Ross Gerber. Crypto's not dead, like we said. Whatever your feelings on Trump, Bitcoin, or anything else, Gerber certainly drew a line in the sand, as perhaps was the intention. The Twitterverse QE'd up to stand either side of that line or sling tinsel-wrapped mud at each other in the tradition of pre-Christmas banner match. But it is so unbelievable that Trump really could spur a huge Bitcoin rally. The current Santa rally in cryptos could be a start, and arguably he may have had some kind of hand in the last moonshot, as Bitcoin has predicted that the Trump presidency would likely have a positive effect on Bitcoin price in early 2017, which we then saw that massive, rise. So will Trump's policies provide fuel for the next crypto rally? Share your thoughts and let me know in the comments below. Now, taking that advice and moving on to Litecoin and crypto, we're now seeing an interesting movement within Litecoin. We've discussed in the past that we saw a rally. We had this drawn on, and then I deleted it yesterday. A support. Let me just see if the brightness is up. Yeah, there we go. We had a support right here, and then we did have this fallout. But it's not unnecessary that we saw that. As you guys can see, we have a downtrend right here. We have our resistance at the top. You can see at around $35. We had this resistance right here. And then you can see that we just recently pulled back down. We found this resistance. We were becoming overbought on the relative strength indicator, as you can see right here at around 73. We were entering that overbought market, so we needed to pull back down. We built up enough pressure to gain up here, but you have to realize this is only the 4-hour chart. So it's a short-term move, within the next couple of days. But this pullback was necessary to, flush the market out, retest back down to our more natural support, our much stronger support, that is, on the 4-hour. And we bounced nicely off that. It also reset ourselves on the relative strength index, so we could potentially move up higher now from this. And we most definitely are. Pulling back out, though, if we look at the daily, as you guys can see, we did have our resistance right here. We could even move this down, shift this lower. You can see right here, we had our resistance at the top. We had our downtrend. We broke bearish from the downtrend, fell lower, caught ourselves at around 22, which I know is so remarkably low. And then we shot back up. We do have this reversal candle here, but we do have plenty of potential to move up much higher. You can see where we're having the resistance, where you can see right here is also happening right there. More so at around $34. Do we have a stronger resistance? We could slide that candle back down lower, but we're nowhere near the high-low MMA yet on Litecoin's daily. So there is still plenty of potential for us to move up higher. I do think we are going to continue to move up higher. $43 is, or $40 does seem to be a better region for Litecoin to continue. Just a small pullback is not, the end of the world. We fell down right now to our most recent support. We're retesting that 4-hour high-low MMA, using that as a support. And I do think we're going to continue on upwards because we're nowhere near overbought on Litecoin's daily, so plenty of potential there. I do think it is a really good investment in the long term. Next, looking at Bitcoin, as you guys can see, we do have a downtrend right now. I apologize for those inconveniences of the pop-ups, but Bitcoin broke bearish from here. We fell all the way down to $3,000, used that as a support, and we're currently retracing back up. I do believe to the high-low MMA, right at around $4,800 in that region. But unfortunately, on our trek up, we are hitting some, some manipulation. I wouldn't even call it manipulation, just some resistance, some heavy resistance. We're kind of clouded right here. There's a lot of trading right here. That is why we're pulling back down to our previous support. But I do think, looking at our relative strength indicator only being 48, there's still plenty of potential to move up higher. I do think, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to break 4,000 again. We're going to look for a $4,500 test. Probably retesting our high-low MMA. They'll both swing down and meet right in the middle at around $4,800. I do think that is coming shortly, so do, hold on. This was the perfect buying zone down here at, $3,000, $3,200, wherever that point of resistance was, or support was right there, around $3,150. And we're slowly climbing back up. You can then see on the 4-hour, you know, all we did was break bullish from the high-low MMA. You can see right here. And we currently retested once again the overbought section. We then pulled back down. And we're just using the high-low MMA on the 4-hour as a support to swing back upwards. We reset ourselves on the RSI. So plenty of potential to move, you know, in the positive direction. Lastly, we're going to look at Ethereum in terms of the three blue chip cryptos. You know, XRP we can include as a fourth, but you can see it also retested the top on its daily of the overbought market on its daily. So obviously that is a much stronger resistance. That is why we're seeing a pullback down a little bit lower. I do think it is following a nice support though. So I think in the short term, we'll probably see another reversal. You can see we found some sort of uptrend on its daily. Obviously trading much more aggressive than the other cryptos. It is, you know, trading fairly nice. We are pulling back up here. There is a resistance up here at 157, 158. So this is going to come into play, but I think if we just slowly follow this uptrend, we should make it to retest our high-low MMA in around, you know, January 19th, you know, into next month, we'll start to see that. Lastly, wrapping things up with XRP, as you guys can see, we are seeing a resistance up here. We did retest 46, 45 in terms of the high-low MMA on its daily. We are facing some resistance in the green band right here. We did shoot up nicely in this massive, you know, burst of volume. You can see we shot it all the way up from being oversold to almost testing overbought. But we're seeing some resistance in this green band. So I think in a couple of days following, you know, Ethereum also, I mean, XRP also has some sort of uptrend right here. I'm just drawing it out for you guys. I think if we can continue to follow this, we should be able to break into our channel right here in the next couple of days. I think we could end up in there as recent as the end of December, entering into the new year. Otherwise, that's going to sum up the episode for today, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you like the content and want to see more. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.